Okay, people. So now it is March 30th of 2023. I've already been up for a couple of hours. Okay. And I'm just gearing up for my day. So I think it's really important that we talk about these cans. Like, seriously. Because if you're aware in an intuitive kind of way, because of maturity and life experiences and just how things work in the world when you're dealing with governments and that kind of stuff, or just people in general, right? With that competitive nature and, that those control freaks and, trying to control the politics and just the whole nine yards. Okay. So, I don't want to get into any conspiracy theories in regards to, there are individuals out there that definitely want to depopulate the planet, and they've been working on it for 100 years. I mean, if you're cruising the internet, you come across this information. It's not that hard to connect the freaking dots, and we're dealing with very satanic, evil entities that really don't like humanity and see us as a resource to exploit, whether financially or emotionally through that loosh harvesting or through a food source. Okay. So anyway, some people are equating that with we're in, like, if you're a Christian, you take it to the Bible. We're, at the end times, and, we're going through the birthing pains, what we're going through right now with the monetary system changing the paradigm, it's like we're in a paradigm shift where one monetary system is crashing, as does with civilizations. It's played itself out, and there's a battle in terms of what's going to be replaced, and this is where they're bringing in this digital currency and pushing the message that you will own nothing and you will be happy. To what degree? Because when you break it up into smart cities, of course you're going to have your smart cities that are flourishing and doing well and being prosperous like we have now, right? Doesn't mean that they're ethical or they're scrupulous or that they have a high sense of morality, because oftentimes with wealth comes deviant acts like illegal organ harvesting, murder for hire so that you can harvest those organs, child trafficking, human trafficking, the selling of drugs, laundering money through the housing market. Just because somebody has money doesn't mean that they're worthy of respect. Okay. So, I tend to agree with those that say that there is an ulterior motive as to what our governments are doing based on their actions, over a period of years, depending on where you are within that system of classism. Forget the two-tiered system. There's always a sense of classism going on in there, right? And of course, some are going to be more the sacrificial lamb than others, while others will be more the example for others. So, in other words, the poorest of the poor are more the sacrificial lambs to, use and abuse and to exploit to the maximum that they can be exploited, however that exploitation occurs. Or if somebody is, say, of middle class and, has a backbone and, is a justice warrior in terms of, personal principles in terms of right and wrong, and has a good foundation in regards to having ethics just within their character. And of course, if we're dealing with, I guess you could say, demonic entities that don't want someone like that to be in power and to draw a crowd in and to get the support of the community or whatever, right? Country, okay? You know, because they actually do the right thing and, you know, advocate for their constituency or their jurisdiction or whatever it may be, their flock, whatever it may be, they're going to be taken out and used as an example for others that want to come up behind them and stand up for principle so that they'll be afraid to do it. Right? So it's not that people with money are immune to gang stalking techniques and, you know, to be targeted and all this other stuff, because they are. It just really depends on what your principles are. That's why I say, come to BC. If you're a criminal, you'll flourish. If you're a criminal, you will flourish in British Columbia, Canada, because that's what props up the economy, whether it's the regular or the underground, but mainly the underground, okay? Well, same thing with just people in general, right? Like, okay, so with that all said, you know, I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that, I don't want to say humanity, but communities, some more than others, you know, in terms of geographical areas and ethnic groups and that kind of thing, right? We're under attack. You know, there is some sort of a control power struggle to control the general population, to mold us to whatever it is that these individuals that think that they have the right to dictate to us to how we live our lives and what we're capable of succeeding at and how far we can go in life, if we can even go in life to any degree forward, right? Because it's almost like our lives are mapped out even before we're born, and the minute we're born, they slap down that this is going to be your life. You just don't know about it yet. So no matter what you do, you're always going to come into a hurdle, or you're going to come into a brick wall, or you know, you're going to fall into a pit, and then you have to crawl yourself back up by your bootstraps, right? How many times have you been told to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Why did you even fall down and have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? People around you should have helped you to be successful. That's where that competitive part of society kicks in, right? Well, that's like 1,000-fold now with our governments. You know, those who control the food control the people, right? And if they see the people as the problem, to which many of them do, because with people comes needs, and with needs requires resources, and not everybody has equal skills where they can all produce the equal amount of product or results or whatever, keep up with the or whatever, right? Because, you know, everybody's an individual. They have their weak and their strong points. Some have a stronger coping mechanisms than others. Some have like better critical thinking skills than others. Some can use common sense much more quicker than others. You know, some are just down and out freaking lazy and like to take advantage of everybody and let other people do their work while they get paid for nothing, but they expect to be there just because they're involved with the union, and somehow the union protects that attitude. Just whatever, like it's just a mosh podge of a whole bunch of shit. So in the meantime, the government, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, since, you know, that's one thing Uncle John really did teach me, people. Anytime you're dealing with the government and government workers, what's important to them is their bottom line, in terms of they want their pension plans paid for. They want their superannuation life insurance policies so they can steal it from each other if they want. They want their dental plans. They want their cost of inflation added into their paychecks, wherever those paychecks are coming in yearly at the inflation rate. They want their medical plans, and they want their perks if they can get those two. Plus they want their severance packages. All that, all of it, has to come first, people, in the budget, every year, year after year after year, before anything left over can trickle out into communities. And we're at a point now where we're at that baby boom, where over the next 15 years, 10 to 15 years, That's all we're coming into is baby boomer after baby boomer after baby boomer, with the large majority of them expecting their pension plans and those packages that I just rattled off. Right? Because it's not just simply a pension plan. It's a whole lot of other shit in there, okay? That's, like I said, that's one thing Uncle John really opened my eyes to. Okay, otherwise most people would be ignorant to the motivation around a government in terms of why are they so superior compared to everybody else? What makes them so special outside of the MLAs that are elected to represent the constituency really don't represent the constituency. What they represent are the employees to those MLAs to keep it in the family, in terms of they get paid first before everybody else. Okay. So where is that leading me? Well, with that said, I mean, like, I'm not broad sweeping here because I'm sure they're under pressure too, a lot of these people. If they're an individual that are spliced and diced with something else and they're not who they say they are, well, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. I don't know how to deal with that problem other than you just got to navigate and try not to think about it too much and let it disturb you and not let it frighten you. That what it does is once you realize that there are individuals like that out there that are out to destroy your family just so they can maintain on what they have as a quote-unquote government entity that's employed by a provincial or state or federal government. Don't talk about Fraser Health Authority. Don't talk about Island Health Authority. Talk about the British Columbia Canadian government that pays Fraser Health Authority, that pays, at the end of the day, all those employees with all those 7 different health authorities all get their paycheck cut from the government, from one building. So they come first. But not everybody is on the dark side. I think a lot of people have been blindsided. And now, because of all these baby boomers coming in, and just with the, I mean, it's pretty common knowledge that what is happening is in part because these pensioners that are coming in expecting their pensions, there's no money in the government because they're all operating in deficits with the dollar, you know, inflation, whatever, just whatever. They don't know how to compensate for the dollar amount to keep all those people happy. So yeah, there is a culling of the population, people, right? And they do it by different ways. In 2001, Gordon Campbell came in with his funky USA freaking welfare reform and turned around and cut off me with 5 dependent kids out and threw me out in the freaking snow in the middle of winter. Literally. And I didn't even qualify for that legislation. And when they brought it in, and when they did what they did to me, through their funky workers looking for a bonus, basically, it wasn't even in effect. It was illegal what they did. Right? And if I would never have filed the lawsuit towards Uncle John, I would never have found that out, people. I only came across that information when I was doing my research for Uncle John and putting Uncle John's lawsuit together. That's when I got the light bulb moment and the actual legislation and who fought against that legislation and how that legislation was rescinded because it was illegal through and through every statute, every act, every law, every on every level, provincial, municipal, but yet even after all this time, the government of British Columbia, Canada in 2020, what was it, 2? Oh, well, that's too long ago. You're past the statute of limitation. When we cut you off of welfare with your 5 kids and a blind man and threw you out in the snow, you were supposed to just drop everything and go take us to court then. Yeah, okay, whatever. The point is, they play really dirty pool, people. Okay, they don't care who they hurt when they want to hurt people, just so they can preserve their pension plans. Bottom line. Okay, just so that they can preserve their benefits, bottom line. Just so that they can preserve their superannuation life insurance policies so they can steal it from each other, bottom line. Okay? So with that said, where we are today is not in a good place. If you want to equate it with birthing pains, with the book of Revelations, where Satan's going to take rule for the next 7 years and cause nothing but havoc on this earth, and then some big war is going to break out to the point where it's going to wipe everything out, and then World War IV will be with sticks and stones because the technology, the whole grid system just came crashing down and everybody's riding with their horses and their buggies. That's what my Uncle Nick told me. He said, you watch and see, Judy. If it happens in your day, everybody's going back to a horse and buggy. I believe that, people. To some degree, yeah, I do. Because people, I don't know. You know, I don't know. So anyway, with all that, you know, like, I look at Alea May, and I look at Kyrie, and obviously Amari, and Andre, and just other people with their families, and, you know, I look at them, and I'm like, you know, like, when I'm out, like, I went and got that laser surgery, right? You know, and I see other families with their babies, and, you know, I don't say anything, right? I just, you know, and I try and feel what they're feeling, in terms of just the vibe that they're giving off, right? Clearly they're happy with their children. Clearly they're in love with their children. But, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like people are afraid to face the future now. Whereas maybe 20 years ago, that fear wasn't there. There was more hope and opportunity. Where that's all being taken away from masses of amounts of people. So, okay, so we know that the food supply, to one degree or another, if you're in the loop, is being sabotaged here and there. It's a certain kind of war tactic that it's not where they come into your neighborhood and start dropping bombs, okay? It's not that kind, people. You know, it's the kind, just like with the living in the Congo and you're in a hut with your family and you got the gorilla coming in, the gorillas, right, with their machetes, and they start chopping you up and dragging you out and throwing you in the bush with one arm chopped off, one leg chopped off, an ear chopped off, and then they leave you there to fucking die. It's not like that. What it is you got the UN soldiers coming in from foreign countries under the guise of, you know, disguise of, well, we're here just because, you know, we're hard workers and we want to get away from a hot country, and, you know, we're on that immigration program where, you know, we can start a new life, but before we can start our new life and be honorable, respectable men in the community, we have to come in and start destroying house after house after house, kick people out, threaten to bring in bins, you know, take their kids away from them, murder, you know, facilitate the murder of beautiful young women, you know, healthy young men, just so that we can harvest the organs and make a little bit of cash to, you know, buy more houses so that we can rip them down. And right, it's the same shit, just a different pile, people. It's a different kind of warfare. Well, it's the same thing with the food supply. Okay, just because you go to Walmart or wherever you go, I'm just saying, right, and you see food in there doesn't mean that the distributor that distributes food to those food stores is viable or functional, because some of them are being wiped out, and because they're in Pennsylvania or someplace like that, some major food manufacturing plant, and it gets just conveniently catches on fire. Not to mention the other 20 of them throughout the country that caught on fire in the last year. Right? You don't notice it because you go to the store, you still see it. You wouldn't notice it unless you actually go and keep up with the information on the fly. Oh, this place got caught on fire. Oh, this place had an airplane fly into it. Oh, this place got sabotaged and that one blew up. Oh, another airplane flew into that plant over there. Oh, they killed off 60,000 chickens over there. Oh, 80,000 cows died over there. Oh, right? Little here, a little there, little here. It's not a bomb where you can actually see it and then right? Be able to protect yourself, because that would be too fair. That would be too fair of a fight. But you're fighting with people that don't play fair. Okay, you tell me, how is it fair throwing out a woman with 5 dependent children with a blind man out in the middle of winter with no income after she lived in a house for 5 years, founded a nonprofit, decided she wanted to try and do something good, work her way out of fucking welfare, and they just threw me out so that they could secure their pension plan and make plans to steal John's. And that's what they did, people. That's what they did. So don't think that they're there to feed you. They're not. And for the ones that are, I guess, ethical union workers, well, I don't know what makes them so special. I really don't make money. That must be the only thing. A secure pension, a secure superannuation, but they got to die for that, right? You know, a secure medical plan, a secure dental plan. That seems to be the only thing that keeps them sustainable, is waiting for the government to give them what they agreed to do, providing that they can put in 25 years of faithful service. And that faithful service requires them to do what they're told. They can't stand up against the government, because if they do, they get fired. So along comes in that corruption. Kick that little bitch out. Who gives a shit if she loses her kids? Who gives a shit if she freezes out in the street? Who gives a shit if Uncle John freaking dies out in the street? Oh, well, they'll find an apartment. They'll manage. They'll manage. Yeah, I fucking managed, people. I fucking managed. And now, with all these experiences I've had all these years with these dirty individuals doing dirty shit, I can clearly see that what dirty shit that they're doing right now, they've taken it to a whole new level. And I've been saying this in my videos for a while now. So, when it comes to food prep, like, honest to God, you gotta take me serious. If you haven't done it already, you gotta just start doing it, because if you don't, I'm telling you, in the next 5 to 10 years, it's gonna get freaking rough. And even then, even if you think that you got a handle on whatever it is that you've been doing, like me, you know, sure, I got this fruit now. Okay, I bought more fruit yesterday. That's why I put on this video, because I'm going to show you some of it. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about how we're under attack with the food supply, and they're doing it, and if they're not putting the plants on fire, they've got the chemical spills. If they're not doing that, they don't have the metal to make the cans. If they're not doing that, they don't have the food to fill the cans. If they're not doing that, they're flying airplanes into the facilities that create this stuff in cans to wipe it out so that it can't create any more cans. I'm just cans as an example, right? Because it's much wider than just cans in general. But, like, knowing what I know, and, you know, I can't depend on fresh fruit all the time if I want to be able to do anything what I plan on doing. No way, it's too expensive. And that's assuming, I mean, they're killing off the orange trees groves, right? They're cutting down all the apple groves, right? You know, they're wiping out this, wiping out that, right? Like, we're talking whole groves. Just like they like to kill trees out here, well, they kill trees, whole groves of apple-producing trees in the United States of America, right? Oh, well, the oranges got infected with something, and now it's orange blight. So, you know, that's half the orange supply gone out of the whole freaking country, not to mention what we ship out of the country. Whatever. No, it's all manufactured, okay? This is a form of war that we're under. They're just doing it in an insidious way. Because if they came in and started chopping you up inside your fucking houses, that's when people would start pulling out their guns and start defending themselves. Whether they were a legitimate gun owner, or whether they were carrying a gun illegally. It wouldn't matter. People would fight back. But they can't fight back because as soon as you try and fight back, then you become either a conspiracy theorist or you become, you know, a radical, and it's just a rant, and you're, you know, slightly paranoid, and you can't cope with the cost of inflation, so therefore you're having a nervous breakdown. Either or, what you got to say isn't important, because if you go to your local food store, you can still find the food. Yeah, you're right, you can still find the food, but this is what you're finding, and I'm going to show you, and this is why I'm doing this video. And look at this. These cans are fucking dented too. Now, I went to Walmart yesterday because I did have my laser surgery. I asked this doctor, I said, what does it feel like? He says, well, people say it feels like a click. I said, a click? Like, how can you explain the feeling of a click? He goes, well, I don't know, you tell me. So anyway, he does it. After he does it, he says, what did it feel like? I said, it felt like you were shooting me with a nail gun. He goes, a nail gun? Oh my God. He doesn't say, oh my God. He goes, a nail gun? Oh, I can't tell people that. That would scare him. I said, yeah, well, that's what it feels like. Because it's so fast, and clearly it feels like something was pierced into my eye. And he did it like once, twice, 3 times, and then he wanted to do one more. It's like, well, fuck, right? So, anyway, this one's been done, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. And I told him about this medication that he gave me. You know, he switched it, and it just made me, like, really dizzy, and, you know, I'm still sleepy, but more dizzy than anything else, and, you know, obviously running with the nose, and just the whole 9 yards. Anyway, I just told him, I said, have you ever stopped to think that maybe some people, because my pressure was high yesterday, it was at 26, 25, right? Don't forget, they want me in the teens, right? And I said, have you ever stopped to think that maybe some people just run around with high eye pressure? You know, I've been like this since I've been 40, and I'm like 61. That's 21 years, you know, and normally I've been running around with 50 PSI over, you know, because I don't have drops, and, you know, so, like, if we're fluctuating between 16 and 26, you know, I mean, like, whatever, and so, you know, I says, like, this, so I just told him I'd do better with just the 1 drop. So I'm back on a 1 drop, and we're going to see what happens with that for a while. And I told him, like, I'm going to try and give up coffee here soon, or at least cut back on it, and start drinking, what is that, barley tea? I told him, I drink coffee. By the time I'm done drinking coffee throughout the day, I can have anywhere from a half a cup of sugar to 1 cup of sugar a day. Every day. Every day. That's what keeps me going. It's like a food source. Right? And I told him I work really, really hard. I used to be able to put in 18 hours. Not anymore. It's kind of hard. Right? Because I'm older now, right? Plus, you know, got this shit going on. And, so, either or, let's get back to this can situation. So, I just opened up these peaches, to which, there you go, there is a dented can. Now, I went to Walmart yesterday. I was looking for bacon, whatever, but before I did that, I went to the can section, because I'm doing canned fruit right now. I got another 5 more cases. I got 2 cases of this kind, Dole. I guess it's pull tab. I didn't know when I ordered them, but anyway, of pears, and 3 cases of the tropical fruit. And then we've got the 2 cases of the peach, plus we've got the pineapple slices. Now, and they're all pull tabs, to which, honestly, are not good for long-term food storage. Because if these things pick up condensation, okay, because there is already, when you pull, there's a line in here. So with that line, if moisture was to get on this can through just sweating, like you know, you take it downstairs, you put it in a cool, dark place, right? You know, come winter time, it gets a little cooler, you know, and it's going to sweat a little bit. And then what happens is that moisture starts to fill up in those cracks. And then over a period of time, it's like anything, it starts to eat. So that is a very weak spot, right in here, is a very weak spot in the can for long-term storage compared to a can like the good old days that are like this. These kind of cans without tomatoes will sit for years and 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 years. Anything tomato in it eventually will start to eat through the can. The more tomato, the more acid, the more it's going to eat through it. But other than that, this can sit for like 20 years, people. 15, 20 years. Where this one, at best, if you're lucky, you might get, well, they say up to 2 years. Up to 2 years. But anything else after that, like, you know, you're pushing it because of this, what's going on. Now, also, too, this is where I say, like, we're kind of under attack because our governments don't want people to be independent. You see, that's the thing. I'm testament to that. They did everything in their power to hold me back one way or another. Even when I started a company when I was 25 years old, right? They let me start my company, blah, blah, blah. I went through the motions, got my company, and then within 3 months they demanded that I show that I made money off of my company. I couldn't do that because, you know, I was young, 25. I was just getting into it. You know, I just got it all paid, whatever I had to, got it registered, you know, blah. And then they turn around and they had me publicly humiliate myself to take my business license and go to the welfare office and hand it over directly to a financial worker, and told me I couldn't do that. So what do you think that did to my self-esteem? Didn't do too much. Right? I'm just using that as an example. Well, they do it all over the place. That's why they've got code this and code that and code, license this, license that, food safe this, work safe that, right? To keep you in a box so that you don't go past go unless they say so, and even then you don't get to go past go. You only get to go 1 foot forward as they're pushing you back 5 feet. Okay? And they allow some people to prosper while others, many others, don't. And a large majority of those ones that do prosper are of criminal mind. Okay? Because it feeds into the underground economy. So in the meantime, they're chipping away at our food supplies, distribution centers that package food, whether frozen food, canned food, or whatever, as they're changing the packaging itself, right? So that it becomes less shelf stable. Because, you know, they don't want you holding down the fort. Like, you got to think of Waco, right? I'm pretty sure it's called Waco. Those people were independent on their own, whatever. The federal government came in and shot them all up. Accused them of being an occult. Even though we've got an occult running our government now. How does that work? Government tries to shut down the occult as they build in their own occult. That's worse than any occult on the planet in terms of Satanism. So anyway, also they can preserve their superannuation life insurance policy so they can steal it off of each other when they're not robbing strangers of it. Okay? I can't stress it enough, people. So they don't want you to be able to buy a quality product, a quality can, and have it in long-term food stores for any length of time. Because, you know, they want to be in a better position to take you out, right? With, I guess, throwing out food. This will be lucky to stay on the counter. Hold on a minute. I just want to finish this video. This will be lucky to, you know, I don't know. How long you think that's going to last for? I notice these tend to dip in more over time. For all I know, this could have did this in the house. Because when I felt it, I didn't feel anything. Mind you, I didn't open up the whole case. But the point is, this one will last longer than this one. By years and years and years and years. And they're phasing them out. Why, people? Why? Because you got to take it outside the box. Because they don't want you having food security, right? They don't want you to be able to hold down the fort for any length of time without them coming in and disrupting it, right? And if you're hungry and your food's spoiling in the can versus this one, right? They can just come in and take you out sooner because your food is already spoiling. Do you understand what I'm saying here? These cans, I can feel them, people, are thicker than these cans. I can squeeze these fucking cans here. Excuse me for swearing, boo-boo cans, okay? These ones, no. Why? What? Oh, well, because you know, inflation, they gotta sliver off the metal because we're in a metal crises, and you know, they gotta save costs, and you know, and they make it convenient for the consumer. No. They're setting the stage for these things to explode in the cupboard after sitting there for a couple of 2-3 years while people think they have food security. And they're saving costs while they do it. And as well as these, I noticed, don't have sugar. They're all advertising as no sugar. And they're trying to make it sound like it's freaking healthy. Where these ones are stored in syrup. Okay? Right. So not only are they saving their manufacturing costs with sugar as they're trying to sell the public that they're giving them a quality product, even though clearly you can see the packaging is inferior. Why? Because they don't want this sitting in your cupboard for 5, 10, 15 years. Nope. And when they can't manufacture it anymore because another plant got blown up, something else flew into something else, a metal manufacturing company caught on fire and was destroyed, like just what happened here a month and a half ago or someplace in the States, a major metal manufacturing company that processed metals to distribute to manufacturers that make cans and those kind of things, got completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. So what do you think is going to happen in the next 5, 10 years if that keeps up? You'll be lucky to find a freaking dented can like this. Serious. And that's assuming that the food will be good inside. So, you need to be aware of that. Okay, you got to think outside of the box. You're not dealing with people that are your friends here. Okay? And, for what it's worth, I bought those pineapple slices on Amazon for $1.97. Some of them came in dented, some of them did not. Went to Walmart, the same cans for $1.97. Okay, so I could have bought those same cans at Walmart for $1.97 and went through each and every can and tried to remove the dents before I purchased them. But based on that other purchase that I had a while back with those other cans, I went through that process, brought them home, and they all buckled. Why? Why did they buckle, people? Because they slivered on the aluminum, and they know it. And that's why they're using these to mask it, right? Where these ones won't buckle. Chances of these ones, even if they freeze, people, chances are they won't buckle. If these things freeze, don't be surprised if they don't freaking fly off with the top. And if they don't do that, they'll rust. Okay, did I make my point? So, okay. Oh, I don't want to break my magnifying glass. So, anyway, for me, all I wanted to do, basically, knowing what I know, and like I said, I'm topping off. If you notice, I'm not buying wheat, I'm not buying beans, I'm not buying rye, none of that crap. I'm not buying, sprouting seeds, nothing, okay? I'm buying this kind of stuff, just topping off, right? And because, I really want to, when I start with this smoothie stuff, I want to keep a steady flow. I don't want Andre saying, well, man, I want a smoothie, and I'll be like, well, we have nothing for it. I don't have money to go to the grocery store to go buy what we need. I don't have $30 for fresh fruit for, like just a little teeny bag, right? You know what I'm saying? Or I can't get to the store and get it for a little teeny bag. Whereas I've got multiple cans that can get me through for quite a few years. I went to Walmart, I found them, and I had a choice. I had a choice between these, in terms of peaches, whatever, and because I knew I already bought 2 cases of pears, 3 cases of the tropical fruit coming in from Amazon, plus I've got the 2 cases of peaches. The last thing I want is more of this as I do more research on this. As soon as I found these, yeah, I practically bought them all. My cart was full. I spent something like $400 on fruit in a fucking can. That are well made. I'm sure they have sugar in them. So you're getting your money's worth, where these are just canned in water. I didn't like the idea that they were canned in water. I just wanted the fruit. Okay? And I wanted it at an affordable price. I didn't want to get price gouged in a grocery store, right? For, you know, fresh fruit time after time after time. So I'm trying to figure out how I can combine fresh fruit with canned fruit or whatever to extend the experience. And all I can do is hope that in 5 years from now, after all these freaking cans run out, whether it's those cans, these cans, whatever cans, that my grandkids will have access to this, people. Like, seriously. You know? And I know I'm not the only person thinking this. And that's so wrong. Our governments right across the board should all be fired for putting people through this kind of freaking stress. But it boils back down to that loosh harvesting. Right? Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to see. I'm looking for my glasses because I can't freaking see, man. Oh, I brought them with me. I wanted to see what the... I have to get some glasses. Hold on a minute. Why don't we just keep this a short video today? Because I got so much work to do, you don't even know. Let's just stay focused on basically this one subject. Okay? So, let's just... Because I always got, you know, calorie count on my brain. Anyway, alright. So, for 2/3 cup of... sliced peaches. Okay? 2/3 cup. The calorie count is 90. The ingredients are oh boy. Here we go. May contain pits. Okay. So, ingredients. Clingstone peaches, water, sugars, concentrated grape juice. Concentrated grape juice. Citric acid. That's why the calorie count is 90. In terms of what they've got listed for, you know, minerals and that type of thing. Potassium, 4%. Iron, 1%. Sorry, iron is 2%. And calcium is 1%. Okay? So 90 calories for 2/3 cup. Okay? Here, as they're trying to save cost, but sell you for more money, because these ones are more expensive, right? Only the pineapple coming in at $1.97. But all you're getting is water. Okay? So here, this is what we've got in this one. Ingredients. Clingstone peaches. Water. Natural flavors. Citric acid. Natural flavors is very deceiving. What does that mean? Seriously. Absolutely no sugar, no grape juice. For 2/3 cup, you're looking at 50 calories. So, between the two canning processes, you lost 40 calories. And those added extra nutrients. Okay? But you're paying almost the same amount of money, if not more, for these. Okay? Per can, that is. So what are they? Okay, so what have they done here? So they've got calcium at 1%, iron at 2%, potassium at 4%, and they've got vitamin C at 57%. Well, how is that possible? Why is it not listed in terms of vitamin C in here at 57%? Right? If it's so high in vitamin C, you would think that they would list it here. Unless, of course, they added it in. Okay. The point is, for 2/3 cup, you get 50 calories here, 90 calories here, and this is more natural in terms of the grape juice, that type of thing, compared to just plain old water. Alright. And the can is dented here. The can, it's like it's denting as I'm talking, people. Like, seriously, like these things suck themselves in, I swear. That's why I'm showing you this video. When you go out shopping, and if you're got a little mindset that you're stocking up a little this and a little that, go out of your way to look for a good old regular can. Just remember, if you're buying tomato of any kind in a can, maybe you might have to recan it if you're looking for long-term food storage. Okay? Or you keep a really good eye on them. But once they start going bad on the inside, that's it. Don't open it. So, alright. So anyway, knowing what I knew, I found those cans. This was, it said $3.97. They're peaches like this, because that's all they sell now. At least at Walmart. I swear, I think they were phasing these out. And this one, for $3.97, or whatever it was, I didn't buy though, because I already got them coming in the mail, right? Through Amazon. So I want a better quality product. I know I already bought fruit. I kicked myself in the ass. But whatever, it is what it is. I already purchased it, so it's on its way. I'm sure it will go to good use. I can always give some to Tisha. I can give some to Mark. Once Andre starts making up these smoothies, I'll go through this shit like water. Right? But when I seen this, I said, to hell with that. Forget the bacon. And I did. I ended up spending like $400 just on freaking canned fruit. That was basically mainly peaches. And I think some of them were pears. Yeah. And I want to go back and get more because I left 2 little flats of this size, which they were selling at for $2.97. Where these ones were coming in at $3.97. Where these ones, which are smaller, were coming in at $3.97 because they're the new and improved ones, even though they're unstable. Okay? Because I know I can put these ones into long-term food storage in a good, cool, dry place, and they'll last for years and years and years. What's going to happen over those years in terms of replacement products at the rate that we're going? I feel sorry for the younger generation people, because if this is their only choice, these kind of cans, I don't know. And that's assuming that they're going to be able to manufacture it, because some other metal manufacturing company got blown up. Some train smashed into that company over there that packaged this shit up, because we're under attack. This is just another form of being under attack. They're taking a better quality product, replacing it with an inferior product as they take away the calories. Okay? And then say it's supposed to be better for you. Yeah, okay. I trust this can in 3 years opening it up and eating straight out of the can than I would this one. So don't come to me that this is a better quality product. I'm just saying. So when you're out shopping and you're buying to stock up a little bit, well, you better look for those cans that are being phased out. Because that's what's happening here, people. They're being phased out because people don't have a choice but to buy what's in front of them. And that's how they're going to phase in their freaking bugs. Yeah, you watch. Okay, you don't come to me about 22 years later, you're starting a universal school meal program. Fuck that shit. No, you're just bringing in your bugs because you cut a backroom deal with some crooked a company that's manufacturing billions of freaking crickets. Yeah, okay. So, alright. So, in the meantime, I have a dilemma. Because cans get heavy. For everything good, there's always something in there that's, an irritant, right? No regrets, though. No regrets. And I will definitely be on the prowl for similar products. Okay? Not for these. I'm not interested in these. Unless it's for the immediate. But for these, that would go into long term. So if you're going to go off and buy some peas in a can, before you buy them like this, I wouldn't buy it, people. If people stop buying this shit, the companies will get the message and they'll go back to their old dependable ways. Maybe. It depends. Because again, we're under attack. Okay? They don't want you having food storage in your house, because if they did, they'd make it so that you could store it. Versus, well, you don't know if you're going to come back tomorrow, and this is an undented can, but honestly, come back in a month or two from now after sitting someplace being undisturbed, and you're going to come and feel that can, and it's going to dent itself in, because I do believe that's what's happening with these cans, because I can squeeze the bloody can, for fuck's sakes. Sorry, boo-boo say, and I'm not very strong, people, and if I can make it move, then you know it's inferior. This one I can't. Well, maybe a little bit. But clearly this is a more secure can. Okay, so, now, there was some cans that were dented there. I went through all of them. The only ones that I left behind was 2 cases after I took everything else. And my buggy was full of freaking cans, okay? 2 cases of this size for $2.97. Where I wiped them out of these size, they were supposed to come in at $3.97, but they tried to sneak in $4.17. I even went back after the fact and asked for my rebate on 20 cents a can. They only gave me $5.80 for everything that I bought, as they stood there and argued with me and said it was $4.17, even though I had the sticker and showed them there's $3.97. They sent somebody else that, yeah, it was $3.97, but whatever. I said it was the principle, right? Don't sell me something for $3.97 and then turn around and charge me $4.17. Either or, $4.17 compared to $2.97. So for $3, this was this size. For $4, this was this size. I definitely chose the larger size. Plus I got 2, I guess you call them numbers 4. 4 numbers size 10 cans of peaches at $10 a can. And those are those big ones, right? I got 4 of those. And then I scooped up on all of these. And then I even went into the dented cans. I separated the dented cans. Didn't matter if it was these ones or these ones. and I asked for a discount on those ones because they were all dented. Plus, I found 3 cans as I was going through all the cans that had been dented, whatever, and were bulging. And I gave it to the worker, and I told the worker, you need to chuck these cans out like ASAP because clearly they're fucking bulging here, right? I didn't say fucking, but clearly they're freaking bulging here, and like you, right? And like people are oblivious, right? Like they got all these immigrant workers in there. Half of them don't even know what they're doing. They don't know what they just don't know, right? Like literally, she just threw them in with a whole bunch of other cans, and I took them out. I said, no, these ones are bulging. They're no good. You know, like get rid of them. Anyway, I left 2 cases of these ones because they were coming at $3 a can, and I already had a buggy full of freaking cans, and I figured, well, now that you know what to look for next time you go out. If you want to do this again, you can go to a different store and scoop up on some more if you want, right? Because, you know, I want to make sure my grandkids have fruit in 5 years from now without having to pay $100 for a bag of oranges. Assuming that you can find them, being that the trees are maybe all dead by that point. Like, who knows? Seriously. Because we're under attack, people. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Just because you don't see those trees dying or being chopped down doesn't mean it's not happening, right? Just like out here, right? Just because you don't see these trees being chopped down doesn't mean that each and every freaking tree sooner or later is being chopped down out here, one by one, by some foreign entity that comes up and says, let me be your friend, buy this, buy that off of me, but just beware that, you know, might at any moment. And then when we're done with you, we'll just throw you out in the fucking street like trash. Yeah. Yeah. And then somehow think they have bragging rights between themselves because they're so fucking rich with their cars and their monster houses and, you know, their whatever bling that they've got going on. But how many lives did they destroy to make that happen so that they can live comfortably in their smart city? Yeah, okay. As the public is going into their food stash, going to grab a can that they bought 2 years ago thinking that it's fine, then find it come back 2 years later and it's all dented in like this, right? And it's all rusting and you open it, you can't eat nothing. And it's like that can after can, 10 cans, you might be lucky to have 2 cans that freaking are viable and the rest is garbage. Okay? That's the kind of war we're under, people. So I bought even the dented cans. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, especially if they give me a discount. And they did. They sold those cans to me at $2. It was advertised at $3.97. They tried to sneak in at $4.17. The ones that were dented this size, they gave them to me at $2.08. So I got them at half price, which is still good, right? In terms of, that's a lot of food for $2.08, right? And then did my eye thing, came looking at my bill, realized that they were charging me $4.17, went back and had a, you know, blah, 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 over pennies. And they ended up crediting me $5.80 on half of these size cans that I bought. Either or, I went for the better deal. Short term and long term, and I got it. Okay? So now I got a bag full of dented cans, okay, that I'm happy with. And I got them at $2.08 a can. The small ones, I think the small ones, they were charging $1.28. So they discounted them by half for me. So I'm grateful for that. And I figured, well, I can just open up those cans, run them through a food processor, put them into jars, and freeze them. So they're not even going into long-term food storage. Right? They'll be eaten up right away, or they will be opened up and, like I said, food processed and put in jars, and I'll find some space to put them in the freezer. Or, here's another idea, and it came to me after this all was done. I bought this because I was at Walmart and I went upstairs and never went up there before, looking around. Anyway, I came across this machine that I guess can make ice cream and it can make sherbet and something else. It's called the Ninja Creamy. I paid like $300 for it, plus tax. But, you know, I got the grandkids. And, you know, I'm building in that staple, right? And I do have other ice cream makers, but they're, you know, where this one look, you know, it's new day and age, and it looks like all you do is just put it on the counter, and I think it has its own cooling system right inside within the ice cream maker. And you can make 1 pint at a time. Point is, you know, that's would be great, right? And milk, cream, sugar. You either can use extract for flavoring, or you can use a fruit powder for flavoring. And I'm like, powder? Okay, well, gee, you know, I got all these dented cans with these peaches or whatever, right? Pineapple or whatever, some with sugar, some with not. Why not grind them up in a food processor, put them in a dehydrator, dry them, and then grind them up as fine as can be to make that powder so that you can take out a scoop and you can put it into your ice cream or your sherbet or whatever it is that you're making for the kids. I thought, well, that's a light bulb moment. That's if it works, oh, I'm in my glory. Totally in my glory. Right? So, you know, those cans, those dented cans, I'm happy to have them, trust me. I mean, yeah, I created myself some work. I have to open them up and figure out what I'm going to do with them. First, I got some more eggs. What I showed you actually wasn't the egg powder, it was eggshells. Those eggshells, as I'm doing the dehydrating of the eggs, I'm washing them and then I'm baking them in the oven on, what is it, 225 or something like that, 200, 250, until they're completely dry. And crunch them up, I put them in a jar, and then eventually, once I'm done dehydrating whatever eggs I'm done dehydrating with, then I'm going to grind up all those eggshells, and those you can actually put into your food, or you can put them into a capsule, and you can take them as a calcium supplement. I'm just saying. But you have to wash them, and then you have to bake them in the oven for a little while, just to completely dry them out and kill off any salmonella, right? So before I start dehydrating peaches and all that crap, or pineapple or whatever, pulp, I'm going to do my 6 carton of eggs in here, and I'm going to keep doing that for a little while, right? Every time I get access to enough to fill up my trays, you know, just keep on that bandwagon until I have a few more jars, and I'm good, right? And then I'll get into these cans, depending on what's dented, what's not dented. See, here's another one, and this was on the inside. I just pulled this one out. This, I can feel it right here, people. When I pulled this out, it wasn't on the outside of the box, it was on the inside, so this is denting itself, okay? I'm serious. These cans are no good. They're no good. You have to be careful with them. And one other little tip, because, you know, I'm always reading, right? Googling, just whatever, right? You know, like, really, how reliable are these lids? How reliable are these new and approved cans? Well, they're not. Other people have discovered that too. And one solution, well, two, if you want to call it a solution, is if you're going to put this away for long-term food storage, obviously you want one that's not dented, but I can tell you right now, don't be surprised if it doesn't suck itself in over a period of time for whatever reason, because that's starting to be my experience, okay? But do you see this in here? Where am I? In here? Apparently, and this is a Korean's trick, okay? I guess they call them hacks. Or is it around here? Sorry, is it around here? I guess it's I don't know. In here? Just wherever there's the seam. Okay? You have a choice. You can use nail polish. And paint over that seam to help keep the moisture out. Because once that accumulates a little bit of moisture, okay, because of condensation or whatever, you know, metal gets cold, starts to sweat, okay, it's going to start eating through the can. Well, that's the weak spot, and that's the first place it's going to eat through. So to prevent that from happening too fast, this Korean fella took polished and covered up the seams to prevent that from happening for long-term food storage. And then reading, somebody suggested maybe putting a layer of wax on it, beeswax. And I can tell you what I know about beeswax. Back in the day, I bought a crock pot from the 1950s or whatever it was. They were made in Alberta. They may or may not have lead in their paint, but either or. It's one of those real big ones, right? And it wasn't supposed to be cracked when I got it, but when they brought it to me, turned out it was a little cracked on the bottom. So of course I Googled, you know, what you could do about that if I ever wanted to use it, right? And it just basic, you know, you take beeswax and you clean your porcelain, your whatever, clay pot or whatever, and then you take beeswax, and that's how you fill up the cracks. And then after the fact, you can actually do your fermentating in that container because it's a crock pot, right, for fermenting, right? Because the beeswax is antibacterial, so it prevents bacteria from growing. Well, it's the same principle. If you were to say pour beeswax right over this lid, it would seal everything inside, and no moisture could penetrate through, and it would protect it from being, you know, corrosion. And because it's an antibacterial, right, anything that's underneath will be fine because, okay. But the problem still remains is these cans are weak. They're weak. They're inferior. It's the company cutting costs, and I don't know. See, here's another one right here. You can barely feel it, right? And I don't trust them. I don't even trust. And like I will. I'm not going to waste my beeswax on these things, but I will go out of my way to buy a new. I have old nail polish kicking around the house, but it's like probably 20 years old. I haven't worn nail polish since I was in my 20s, people. So I don't even know if it would even be viable. But I will go buy some new nail polish, clear or red, and I'll use one with color so you can see, right? Some kind of a nail polish with a little bit of color, and I will go out of my way to do that as a hack for the ones that are, see, here it is right here. I can feel it again. Okay, right here. And once it starts, I can almost guarantee you, if I leave this can out within a week, this will be even more dented because it's doing it. It's on its own. It's like almost like that oxidization, right? And I'm grabbing these cans from the center of the case. So here's something else to think about before I close this video off. So you go now, okay? So you don't have to buy from Walmart, okay? Here it is again. Look at this right here. This is almost every can that I'm pulling out of this case right now. Okay? So, okay, so you know how you buy a case and it's got the plastic over it and it looks like it's uninjured? Right? Yeah. This is facing on the inside. It's dented here. It's dented there. These things are buckling. I'm telling you, these things are buckling on their own. Yeah. This is messed up. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. It wasn't like that before, people. When they came in, they felt normal. I was actually, right? Considering what I got through with this freaking pineapple crap. Now that I opened up this can, this box, the plastic, like half of them are starting to... But you see, I got common sense. I got critical thinking skills. I'm not afraid to try new things. To which I might just be taking some of these cans, especially that one. My other dented cans that are like this, I'll open up this dented can, put it in a food processor, blend it up real good, juice and all, people, juice and all, okay? And I will dehydrate it, and after it's dehydrated, I swear I'll turn it into a powder, and then I'll mix it in with the ice cream, or Jello, or whatever, Amari's drinks, whatever. And I'll get rid of these funky cans, because I am choked. Yeah. I thought this case was safe, but it's clearly not, because as I was pulling them outside from inside the middle cans from the inside of this box, they're coming in dented. How the hell is a can denting when it's tucked in the middle of all the other cans? It's because the cans are inferior, that's why. And they're masking it with these pull tabs. And they're doing it for different agendas. One, to save money in terms of the manufacturing cost. Two, to take away the ability for people to store things long term and have a fighting chance in fucking life. How about that? Huh? You know what I'm saying? Because once they got people completely dependent on these types of products, well, what do you think's going to happen? They'll start taking it away from people, because that's what they do. That's what they do. They don't, as soon as you get a little ahead in life, they come in and they chop you down at the frickin' knees. Yeah. This is just another chop me down shit. Do not put these kind of cans into long-term food storage. And if you do, I highly recommend, you can Google more hacks. Maybe you might come up with a better idea. Right now, there's two choices. You can use fresh nail polish to cover up the seams to prevent that liquid, that moisture from getting in between the cracks and starting to eat through your can. Or you can take the time and pour on just straight up beeswax. Nothing more, nothing less. Over the whole thing, if you want to do that, to seal that, and it's antibacterial. Just make sure it's nice and clean, nice and dry, right? You don't wash a little bit, let it air dry, and then pour on. And yeah, your can will probably sit for a while, but don't be surprised if you don't come back a year or 2 or 3 later and find these things buckling in here on their own. And they like to buckle down in here too, right at the freaking seam. That's what I've noticed. And if you have no choice and you're stuck with these things, well, get yourself a dehydrator and maybe dehydrate some of this stuff and turn it into powder, depending on what it is. Seriously. If it's fruit, there's no reason There's no reason why you can't turn it into into fruit powder. Do you know how much it costs to buy fruit powder? Oh my God. Like I've been Googling on Amazon and just trying, because, you know, I want to, right? Trying to find a way to make juice without having to just whatever, and like just a little teeny weeny bag, they want like 20 bucks. Like, holy shit, that's too much money. It wouldn't last very long in my house. Like, this is messed up. Dented here, dented here. Like, what the hell? Okay, so I'm going to end this video because I have to figure out what I'm going to do with these cans now. I have a few ideas, but it's going to take a little while in terms of, like, reorganizing and putting things away. Obviously, anything that's dented, I don't care if it's these cans or the other cans. At least with the other cans, I got 50% off, right? So Walmart did the right thing, right? Where these ones, half the cans that I bought are like denting up as I speak, and I'm paying full price for that shit. Yeah, okay. Okay. But I will find time to dehydrate these and jar them up after the fact. With or without water. We'll try first with water. Like, I'll take whatever's, you know, I'll have to taste the water. I'll taste the water, see if it's even worth dehydrating water. Whereas this one, I'm dehydrating the whole thing, everything. Okay, I'm not going to waste that beautiful sugar or grape juice. Right? Why are you packing in water with inferior cans other than, but you're selling it for the same price with less product? Yeah, okay. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is why you need to get into home canning. Okay? If peaches were affordable to buy, like the good old days, a whole box for 28 bucks, 3 tiers, I'd can my own peaches, people. It's not that hard. Right? In my own syrup. But it's too expensive. You pay $28 for one flat with 18 peaches in it. How far do you think you're going to get? You're going to get 2 jars if you're lucky, 3. Okay? As if. Right? I'm trying to make sure that my grandkids have peaches in 5 freaking years from now. Not in 1 year, maybe. Maybe. Because of the can, maybe. I'd be more concerned about food poisoning with this can than I would with this can. Okay? Like, serious. I hope you learned something from this. How do we change that? Boycott the companies. Serious. Stop. Find a way to freaking stop buying. But you see, they got us by the balls, though, because people are going to buy. They're going to buy what's put in front of them. And they're not going to complain. And even if they do complain, it's not going to get them anywhere. Because there's too many of us still buying the same shit. Right? Because we don't have an option. And the more they liquidate these things out and don't restock them, we're not going to have too many choices. Anyway, I gotta get on with my day. You see, even these ones, you can kind of bang them around a little bit and they can handle it. These things, you touch them with your finger and it... So I guess over the next several months, after I'm done my eggs, and I wanted to do cheese too, I still have to do cheese. I'll be dehydrating fruit, but I don't mind because I can use it for juices or for ice cream or whatever. And I did buy the Parmesan cheese fresh, the whipping cream fresh, the sour cream fresh to make the Alfredo cheese sauce. I'm going to make that. Alfredo sauce. I'm going to can those. The only thing is I want this size jar. This kind. I want a regular mouth. Right? Right now I have wide mouth. So I might have to send Tisha to go get me another 2 more cases of these because this would be better for Alfredo sauce. And I'd like to keep my wide mouth for meats or something else, right? So I'm not out of the woods yet. But I like that idea because First of all, you can cook cream. I'm going to end it on this note, okay? You can cook cream on a stove, bring it to a boil, keep it boiling for a while, throw in a few onions, and just boil, boil, boil. And that won't caramelize. It will just thicken up. Okay, so if you can do that, you can can it. Okay, where I guess if you can milk and you cook it for too long, it caramelizes and ends up coming out like condensed canned milk, right? It's a little sweeter, a little darker, you know, a little thicker, right? But whereas with whipping cream, I know you can cook whipping cream, and it doesn't get darker, it doesn't get sweeter, it just thickens up. And you add a little salt for flavor or whatever you're doing, onions, and you put it in with whatever foods that you're, yeah, so definitely I'm going to do that. So I'll probably be doing that for a while, like in the next few days, 1 or 2 or 3 days, when I have a bit of energy after I get a handle on these cans. And each and every time, I'm telling you, I don't care what my kids say. Hate me now, thank me later. I just don't care. Each and every time I go out, I'm looking for normal cans. And I will stock up on what it is that I want when it relates to what I'm buying. Right? In terms of, okay, well, that's going into long-term food storage. So we want to make sure that we don't use these. And in a year from now, I doubt you'll be able to find these anymore, because they're phasing out these companies. Yeah. Now, I'm going to end this video on my cast iron sourdough bowl pot. I bought 4 of them. They were a little bigger than what I wanted. I thought they would be a little smaller, but they're cute. I mean, it would be perfect for my son. That would be perfect for an adult, especially a man. A nice sour bowl bread, right? And then you scoop out the inside and you put in your stew or whatever. I got 4 of them. So you see, I'm moving along. Moving along. Right? Peach cobbler. Whether frozen peaches, even dehydrated peaches, not everything has to be in a slice. It could be in a paste. Just saying. So if you're getting discouraged with these things, like I'm getting discouraged before you even get out the freaking door with them, you have a backup plan. Okay? You can go that extra mile and maybe dehydrate some of this stuff, and, you know, depending on what it is, and just use it as a supplement within your meals, right? Or try and avoid buying them altogether and start boycotting maybe these companies that produce inferior products but charge us a whole lot of money for them. Okay? I'm just saying. Right? Sticks and stones. They throw a stick at us, we throw a stone back at them. We just won't buy your products. How about that? Think about that. Whatever company manufactures this crap. But people aren't thinking like that, though. People, they're just getting into survival mode more and more. And they don't know how to, I was talking to the workers at Walmart. I'll end it here. And one of them was telling me how the company didn't even give them their Christmas bonuses this year. And the ones that did get it only got half of what they normally get. Yeah. That's bad. right? And those people, they actually work pretty hard. They don't like to help pack up things and stuff and whatever, but it, you know, I don't know. Okay, so happy can hunting. Okay, so now it's March 31st of, it's very bright, isn't it? 2023. We're going to stay on the subject of cans for the most part. I'm going to put this first, and then whatever I was ranting on about yesterday about cans. I'm going to put on a G-Kids hat because I want to. Because sometimes when we do things, you know, we justify it, right? You justify it before you go off and do something. If you think that maybe what you're doing is a little extreme, over the top, you know, I wouldn't call it irresponsible, but maybe testing the waters in regards to, why am I buying all this canned fruit? Literally, right? Like, we're talking over $1,000 worth of canned fruit, like, duh. What's the matter with you? Are you having a nervous breakdown, Judy? Because it sure seems that way when you look at your financial statements. Right? And all because Tisha went to Costco and spent, what was it, $110 for one pack of strawberries, a little bit of mangoes, 3 loaves of bread, a jug of milk, and some freaking, what was it? Bacon? Like, come on. All that triggered over $1,000 worth of canned fruit in the last week. Like, duh. So how do I justify that, people? How do I smooth it over with my kids? Well, why do you need all these cases of fruit? You told me you weren't gonna. Okay, sure, you stopped the canning. You're not piling up on the jars no more, but now you're bringing in whole cases of fruit after fruit after fruit, and you're not even doing it that way. You're doing it in multiples. What's your thing with multiples, Mom? Right? I can hear it. So, of course, you know, depending on who I'm dealing with in the house, I have to walk around eggshells, right? Because, you know, I gotta worm these things downstairs, and I'm like, because, you know, I got other things upstairs, and just, oh. So, anyway, well, I'll tell you how I justify it. First, I have a family. I think that's the top of the list. And it's just not Amari and Andre and me. I just don't see it like that, people. I see it like Tisha with Alex with the kids, right? And, you know, May and Kyrie. I see it like Marcane with his girlfriend Marina. So that's 6 more people in my mix, with 3 of mine. That's 9 in the immediate. So when I buy cases, that's what I'm thinking. 9 people, approximately, give or take, over a period of time. It can't be indefinite because they'll eat it. The only way it could be indefinite is if our governments were dependable, where we knew that that food will always be available. But you see, that's where we're at in society. We don't know that anymore, people. And if it is available, how is it being changed compared to what it was? Okay. All right. Okay. I gotta start my day. You don't even know. So, of course, food is expensive. Fresh produce, whether fruit or vegetables, seems to be, fairly expensive because of the cost of the production and transportation and that type of thing, with inflation going up. And you know, if you're trying to bring in a staple, like if you plan on making bread for 3 years straight without ever going to go buy flour, how would you do that? Well, you'd have a whole bunch of freaking wheat in the house in 5-gallon buckets with Marlar bags, with or without oxygen absorbers, right? We know that. Well, if you're trying to bring in smoothie drinks, for example, or more of a puree-based meal for a Mari that includes fruit, right? Or just a drink in general, okay, like a juice drink or something, right? How would you do that for 3 years without really ever going to a grocery store? Well, you'd have to bring in either dried fruit or canned fruit. I've got the dried fruit basically covered for now, right? And I do plan on doing blueberries, dehydrating on my own from the farms. So, you know, I'm not lacking there. I have a very small, limited supply of canned fruit in terms of what I canned back in the day when that pear tree actually produced pears, you know, and peaches were affordable, right? Like last year, whenever I did those peaches with the Mari and grind it up and just ended up throwing, I wanted to can those peaches, and that was the reason I bought the box. But once I realized when I got to the cash register that, you know, it was just, I don't know, like it wasn't worth it. Like it was like gonna cost me $60-80 just to be able to can, maybe if I was lucky, 10 jars of quart-sized jars of peaches. Maybe only 8 jars for $60. Like, so, you know, I can't afford, I can't afford to be paying out of the nose and bugging my kids to go to the grocery store for me every single week to give me that staple to build in whatever else I'm trying to build in, where half of that problem could be solved with a can. Half can be canned, half can be fresh. You blend it all up and you're good to go. Okay, I'm just saying. So that's how I justified it, by, okay, well, just, you know, they want this, you want this many cases, just pay. That's when you push the button, you look the other way, and you don't look back with no regrets, okay? Because once it's done, you make that initial investment, $1 grand, $2 grand, and I ain't done yet. I'm just taking a breather. I'll tell you in a minute. And put this stuff, what I have, first away where it's doable. And I have a plan around it, and I'll tell you that too. And then as I travel through my travels, when I go into stores directly, not online, but when I can go pick through the cans myself, I'm looking specifically for these kinds of cans, dented or not, because if they're dented, chances are I'll get a discount on them, and then I can come home and repurpose them. Whether I recan them, whether I dehydrate them, whether I take out what's inside and freeze it, doesn't matter. The point is I can salvage that can in a timely manner, to which there's savings around that. And being that I am looking at least 9 people, if the shit hit the fan, and maybe 1 or 2 coming in saying, Mama Lynn, you know, my house got destroyed in the earthquake, can I, you got anything for me to eat? I'll be like, yeah, okay. Don't worry. We'll be fine. We'll get through it together. It's like Uncle John says, we stick together like a family, right? Well, I haven't completely lost my family yet. As much as some people would like it that I did, you know, in terms of Uncle John's gone, Shamay's gone, Sierra's gone, one's permanently injured for life, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, there are those ones that like to destroy families. There are other people that don't necessarily think like that. I gotta get off this, oh, woe is me, I'm being picked on shit. I'm under attack. But we're all under attack, I think. That's the point. We're all under attack. We're all in that pressure canner. And our government's just got us, you know, at just, you know what I'm saying? And it's still kind of, you know, working its way up, right? And the government tweaks the knob so it can go down just a tad bit. But at the end of the day, you know, like, clearly, I don't know. I'm sorry, you can't sell this to me. I'm just using this product as an example. With less calories in it. And you, I don't want to say mislead, but when you compare the vitamin C in this one to this one, and this one has like, what was it, 51% C, vitamin C, where this one was just a few percent. Let's just take a look. That's coming in with citric acid powder. It's, to me, it's like a selling point, because if you're, you know, looking in the store and you're looking for your, you know how it goes, right? You want to know what's in your food, and you see it's 51% vitamin C, and you know the world is crashing around you, and you can't afford oranges, but you want to give your kids, you know, vitamin C, and that's a high count of vitamin C, so of course you're going to buy it for the vitamin C, thinking that you're getting a quality product because of vitamin C being so high. I'm using this as an example, okay? Whereas if you look at the older cans, oh my Lord, that aren't tweaked, I guess you could say, and that are stored in sugar, which gives you those extra calories, and is used as a preserving agent. That's another reason why they increase the citric acid in this product, people, because they're using it as a preserving agent compared to sugar. Because when you're canning canned fruit, you use light syrup, medium syrup, or a heavy syrup, because the syrup itself is the preserving agent to the fruit, unless of course you use a citric acid or something like that, and that's why the concentration of vitamin C is so high in this product. But I wouldn't necessarily consider it to be I don't want to say more nutritious, but of higher quality. I see this product as higher quality and more natural than this product, even though this product is being sold as a kosher, all-natural, vegan freaking product. Okay, yeah, you get my point, right? I think so. As they sliver off on the cans in terms of, you know, right, how thick they are, and bring in these things as a means to mask the inferiority of the can, because they're trying to save costs, not only by depriving the people of the sugar now, and masking it over with a synthetic vitamin, well, I don't know if it's synthetic, but, you know, a citric acid, which is just, you know, it comes in a powder form. I have some in the house. What it does is it just brings up the acidity, right? And I guess it adds in extra vitamin C, because that's the only place this extra vitamin C came in with this can of peaches that has no sugar compared to this one. And this one is listing at, oh, it doesn't even list it. It lists potassium at 4% and iron at 3%. It doesn't even list a vitamin C. Now that's interesting. That's very interesting, because this one is screaming vitamin C, but it's coming in from that citric acid. Where's my hat? So when my son gripes at me and shit like this, oh, you got more candy, you tell me, where you gonna put it, Mom? It's in my face. I'm like, shut up. You don't even know. You think about yourself. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy. You don't have to worry about little children coming up in this world having to wonder where they're gonna get their next can of food. And when they do get it, what kind of fucking can, boo-boo can are they gonna get? Right? This is where us adults in today's term, need to fight for the younger generation, even if it goes to the age of 2, okay, or 1. Kyrie is 1 year old. Kyrie, my little 1-year-old grandson, has a right to be able to go out into society in 25 years from now and be able to buy a quality product at a reasonable price so that he can have a life for him and himself and his family, okay? Compared to, I don't know, what? Are they going to start packaging these things all in plastic just to save money on freaking canned goods and then make it so that people can't put away for long-term food storage because those who control the food control the people? Okay? I don't want my grandson being controlled in 25 years where he's stuck with a little plastic cup and a little bit of irradiated, because you have to remember, this stuff is irradiated, okay? Anytime you're getting your vegetables and all this other crap coming in from these grocery stores or wherever, the majority of it, if not, well, all of it, depending on the food chain, is being irradiated as it's being put into the main food chain supply. And the reason that is because they're trying to remove pathogens within the food so that it doesn't create, you know, contamination, like food poisoning, right? So in other words, like, you know, a big vat of, what is that, apples? You know, the big, you know, like a whole crate full of apples, like we're talking big. It comes in with a little bobcat. They put them on a conveyor belt and they run them through this big machine that irradiates them with a gas or something, okay? And it penetrates right through the whole crate, even though it's full of freaking apples. That's why your apples taste funny when you go to the grocery store and you buy apples from a grocery store, because they've all been irradiated to kill off pathogens to so-called protect the public. They say it doesn't alter the food, but it does, because I do home canning. Okay, I've been working with fruit for a long time, food, whatever, right? Long before I even started doing these videos. I used to home can with my mom with the fruit. That's how I started when I was 12, 10 years old, 11, no, around 12. And, you know, just what I've been doing in this house, working with a real apple tree compared to the apples that I buy in a grocery store. Big difference, okay? Well, it's the same thing with this stuff. So this one here is listing... Let's stay focused. See, I have to change glasses when I'm looking at things. As if I lost glasses, so there you go. Okay. Where are we? As if I can see with these ones. I can't even see with these ones. Do you see how I struggle with this shit, Pete? It's fucking stupid. And then I wonder why my eyes are all goopy. But whatever. Okay, I can kind of see, but yeah. So this one is listing potassium at 4%, calcium at 1%, where the other one didn't list no calcium. They've got iron at 2%. What do they have iron in here? 3%. They got potassium at 4%. They got potassium at 4%. But then all of a sudden the vitamin C jumps up to 57%. 57%. That's their preserving agent. And people look at that and they think, oh wow, 57%, sure, I'm going to buy that. And it has no sugar, so therefore it's healthy. Well, no, not necessarily, people. Especially if it's coming in an inferior fucking can. And you can't store it away long term because you're thinking about the safety and the well-being of your family in 5 years from now, considering what's going on in this freaking economy. And to those that are trying to control the food so that they can control the people. And if they're making it where you can't technically store food away for 5 years or more. I doubt this can, as it is, would last 5 years in food storage without it puckering, rusting, leaching. Who knows? You don't know what you're going to get with this can because the can itself is inferior. But this one will sit for 20 years. Right along with a jar, a home can jar that didn't pop. That one will sit for 20 years too, people. Okay. And, yeah, sure, the peaches might be a little softer inside the jar, or they might be a little browner, but I'll tell you, they'll be just as tasty as they were when they went in, right along with these ones. Unless, of course, the can itself and the inside starts to give off a little bit of that tinny taste, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the food inside is bad. Okay? Where these ones, I wouldn't trust them with a 10-foot pole to last 5 years. So now I'm under pressure to start using them up fast. I got 5 years, 2 years to use them. They say 2 years. Okay. And I'm like, whew, well, I got a lot of little kids in the house, so I must be doing something right, because I'm sure for what I bought, in terms of the amount of cases, not knowing what I was buying until after the fact, right? I have more than enough to get the kids, or my son, grandson, whoever, myself, Tisha, whatever, through with making something in terms of whether it's a smoothie or whatever. Okay. So I'm on a hunt now for good old cans. And I would recommend, as you travel in your day, and when you get it in and about a grocery store, you beeline to the can section. You look around for uncompromised cans. In terms of, I consider this to be a compromised can just by the way it's made. Okay? Compared to a can like that. Then you look at the product and you decide if it's something that you want, right? I mean, not everything you find in a can you might eat, so don't bother to buy it unless, of course, you know somebody in the house else will eat it. Then you can buy, and just put it away. Just watch out for those cans with tomato, because tomato eats. I was thinking like pineapple, and you know, like what is the rate of a pineapple canned in sugar eating through a can compared to a peach sitting in a can with that acidity in that can eating through. It's normally tomatoes that are the ones that are the worst. So anything with a tomato, well, you might want to consider recanning it, or using it within a fair amount of time, or avoiding it altogether, right? But if you have a backup plan, like I'm going to do with the salsa sauce, then yeah, by all means, right? You know, buy it, because reuse, and you're going to have to, because otherwise, honestly, I don't think people stop and think about what corporations do to manipulate the general population in partnership with their crooked governments. One can't do what the other one does unless they both help each other, people. Right? And if they're bringing in inferior cans, little by little, surely by surely, as they're trying to sell the public that it's good for them because it's got high vitamin C, even though it's an artificial vitamin C, and it never was in the product before until they changed it. Think about it, okay? Or that it's convenient and it has no sugar, so therefore somehow that makes it good for you, when in fact what makes good is that the syrup is what preserves the actual product, which gives you a higher calorie count. And when you're going into famine, you're going to want that higher calorie count. And not only are you going to want that higher calorie count, but you're going to want that comfort food. Because when your belly is hungry, when a child or, a person's belly is hungry, look at it like this. You can give them a plate of food, a full plate of food, that they don't necessarily connect with. but they eat it anyway because they're hungry, and that's all that's in front of them. They aren't going to necessarily feel full, right? Or their metabolism, you know, their physiological metabolism isn't going to necessarily digest that food in a way where it creates the energy that it requires for it to do in a more positive force. Okay, positive force. Whereas if you give somebody that same size plate of food but only cut in half, okay, and you add in a little bit of that comfort food within that plate, it's the comfort food that's going to get them through the day. Because when they stop and think, as they're working, doing whatever, under stress, whatever, their mind is going to revert back to when they were eating something that brought them comfort. And that right there will be a boost of energy to get them through. Whereas this one, not so much. This is comfort food. This is not. It's the comfort food that fills the belly. It feeds the mind, it feeds the spirit, the soul, because it brings comfort. And it also nourishes the body. And if you think about it, this is twice the amount of calories as this. So even if you were to give them 2/3 of a cup of this and half of 2/3 of a cup of this, they're still equal in, what is that called? Nutrients, right? But yet this one is triple, quadruple the amount of energy, because the energy comes, a lot of it, from the mind. When the mind is at peace, it is able to produce better results. People are more productive when their minds are at peace. They're more apt to learn when their minds are at peace. They're more apt to cooperate when their minds are at peace. Comfort food brings peace, even if it's in half the amount of something else that doesn't necessarily do that outside of it. Provide nutrients to the body, as in bug meal. Bug meal provides X amount of nutrients. That's all that's important. Not the comfort, not the taste. Well, no, we got to mask the taste, and we got to make you think that it's going to give you extra for something that it never had in the first place, because people will buy this for the vitamin C before they'll buy it for the comfort. They will buy this before they buy this, because this you have to look for, because they're phasing it out, because the ones in control of our food are making it where we can't store it long term and have comfort and value for our money in terms of everything when it comes to calories, nutrition, just the whole 9 yards. Okay, that's how I see this situation around these cans. Okay, and I don't like what companies are doing. I don't. And I think if enough people were educated, I think we should start boycotting these manufacturers that bring in inferior cans and mask it over with gimmicks. Oh, well, it's easy to open. Well, apparently I've been told that they're not. Oh, well, it's got a lot of vitamin C. Yeah, but where did you get that, motherfucker? Really, where did you find that, motherfucker? Okay, did you squeeze in some lemons, or did you just take some white powder and sprinkle it in like a potion maker? I'm just saying, right? Because you can get your vitamin C elsewhere. Okay? You don't need a company to put in a whole bunch of vitamin C in order to, unless of course that's what you want. I didn't buy it for the vitamin C. I bought it for the comfort. And right now I'm finding no comfort in those cans outside of, I'm an experienced homemaker. I got a backup plan, and this is how I'm going to end this video, because we're going to go into new videos soon, okay? I created myself a whole lot of work. I have to make Alfredo sauce, can that. I bought peaches in a can that were dented, blah, 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 whatever. I'm going to repurpose that. I'm going to can. I'm going to recan, and I'm also going to dehydrate, and I'm going to see if I can make powder. Because I bought an ice cream maker here, right? I think I talked about that, and apparently you can use fruit powder to mix in to when, you know, so peach sherbet would be great, but besides that point, we'll wait and see. I ordered a whole bunch of these thinking I was doing the right thing, and to which no regrets, right? Because I have it now at least for 2 years, and it's a good start to get into a routine with the kids, at least with, you know, the kids. Like I told May, when Nana clears out the kitchen, we'll be making ice cream. And she's always waiting for me, and I'm telling her, well, you know, May, Nana's still just getting this food, right? Like, you know, I'm working on this food. I just want to make sure we have lots of food in the house so that, you know, soon we'll be doing this and doing that and da-da-da-da. But, you know, she's little, right? So, you know, once I'm done doing, then yeah, every time a little Layme comes over with Kyrie, we pull out one of these, if I haven't already rejarred it up somewhere else, and that's our base to build in for, and then they can drink it, or whatever. Or maybe I can make a dessert or something. I'm not sure yet. I have to think about it, right? Or maybe we'll make ice cream and some of it will be dehydrated and put into powder, right? Point is, I don't have to worry about it for a couple of years. However, I'm not satisfied with just under pressure. I gotta eat this can up within 2 years because it's defective. No, 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 no. If I want, I should have the option to be able to put that can away for 10 years and save it for my family after I'm gone. Okay? Because Alea May will still be left behind. Nothing moves except me. Poof, once I'm gone, I'm gone. Everything else stays behind, including my grandkids. And I want to make sure that they have access to, you know, Mommy, right, Tisha, and whatnot. They have access to continue whatever routine I tried to build in for them with those staples, whether it be wheat or canned fruit or canned fish or whatever. You know, you're not going to find it this way. You're just not. So, yeah. If you're kind of getting on my page, if you understand what I'm trying to tell you here, dig into your pocket when you come into these cans. I highly recommend that you buy them right then and there. All of them. The ones that are severely dented, like I came across, I bought them anyway because I knew I was going to repurpose them. And I just didn't know exactly how I was going to repurpose them. I just knew I'd repurpose them and then go to the company and ask them to give you a discount on them. And chances are they will sell them to you at a discount because even these companies, you know, they say that they're, you know, lots of them are going, you know, closing, you know, they're shutting down and going bankrupt or, you know, doing different things. Because they're not making enough money. But then on the other hand, you hear that they're overcharging and they're making lots of money. And some of what we're going through with this inflation in the grocery stores is manufactured inflation so that big corporations can profit at the expense of exploiting the little people, right? And this is just one means that they're doing it without telling the public exactly what they're up to. So, you know, don't be afraid to go off and buy regular old cans, even if they're dented. If they're dented, make plans to repurpose them, whether you dehydrate it, whether you freeze them, what's inside, whether you recan, whether you make something new, like I'm going to be making a salsa sauce and adding in what I've got to just enhance the flavor and then recanning, right? There's lots of things that you can do to take control of your household so that you have those staples, not just the wheat. You got to have more than just wheat in the house. I mean, if that's all you had, then great. But you got to have a little bit of protein in there somewhere along the way, right? You got to have the ability to grow microgreens. So get some sprouting seeds and tuck them away, or whatever, or just even beans in general, right? And you gotta have your fruit, whether it's dehydrated like I did with the mulberries, the golden berries, the cranberries, the raisins, the dates. You need your cans. And then, after the fact, you have more control of what you're buying in the grocery store when it comes to fresh fruit. And whatever you buy in the grocery store, you come home with that fresh fruit and you combine it with whatever can you have or jar that you repurposed or canned to sustain your family. You need to bring in an equilibrium. You're trying to build in, an equilibrium is something that goes like this. It just kind of stays, and it moves. It doesn't have these big drops and these big highs. Nobody likes to go through life like this and then have to crawl themselves back up and then, right? That tends to be my life. I get to this point, I have to crawl back up and go and crawl back up. Right? Some people never get a chance to crawl back up. Right? So, more of us are going like this, and we're doing it more regularly. And we're afraid. This is where comfort food will help. Okay? Trust me. So, right? Even on a half full belly, you'll get the same amount of nutrients, but you'll have so much energy with that comfort food that you'll be able to get through to the next day. No problem. So there is truth to comfort food. Right. So, I got these five cases of cans coming in today. I'm not even opening them up at this point. I'm just taking them downstairs. I'm putting them on top of Auntie Shamay's piano. And they're going to sit there until I play catch up with everything else. And I'm going to work. Well, I might take a few out, like a few tropical, and a few, I think I bought pear. I got 3 tropicals, 2 pears. I already took out the compromised cans that are already getting compromised. We went through that with this video coming up. Of peaches, to which I'm going to take these peaches from these cans. There's about, 4 or 5 of them that are compromised. And I got several of these cans that are dented. We'll go through that, and I'm going to combine the 2 of them together in a pot. I'm going to heat them up. I'm keep it all easy on myself right now, right? I'm going to heat them up, and then I'm going to put them into jars, as I would any peach that I'm going to can, and then I'm going to boil them for 30 minutes or whatever it is. And actually, based on my experience, okay, you see, I'm an experienced canner. I know some things. I don't think I'm going to boil the shit out of them for 30 minutes because it's actually kind of unnecessary. And when we get to that video, I'll explain it to you. I'll probably be more apt to bring it to 190, keep it at that 190 pasteurizing for 30 minutes, right? Because that in itself will do the job. I don't need to boil those jars for 30 minutes to what? Okay, right? To recan? No, it's not necessary. Because you already got the sugar. And thanks to Dole, we've got the citric acid. So, there's your preserving agent, right? And it only takes 10 minutes to kill off, what do you call those things? Bacteria and stuff. And I'll be using sterilized jars that I'm going to be boiling in water as if I was canning fresh peaches. Okay, so I'm not going to be losing anything other than maybe some time. And I get flack. You have no place, Mama. You said you stopped doing this. What's the matter with you? Why do you need 15 cases of canned food? Well, I don't know. Maybe because I've got at least 4 grandkids that I can think of right now, right? In terms of they're here right now. And, I've got children, even though they're adult children that I think about, even though I know you don't necessarily see it like that, but I do. And I want to make sure that no matter what happens in the next 5 years at least, you'll have enough to get you through with the staples that I'm building in between the wheats, the meats, the vegetables, whether like beans, whatever, sprouting seeds, whatever, and the fruit. The main food group categories. I should be at a point where my grandkids come over and I say, okay, let's make a little something. Make a dessert. It doesn't have to be a smoothie. You can grind these up. Make a gelatin or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. There's other things you can do with peach pulp, for example. Right? With whipping cream. That'd be so good. As a matter of fact, you could probably, seriously, I want to end it on here, and then we're just going to carry on with the next video, which will more than likely be cans, because I'm on a can rave right now. I got a lot of freaking cans I have to deal with. Costing me a lot of money. And of course I have to pay back that money, because, you know, I'm still dipping into that, you know what, right? But I don't want to be dealing with a whole bunch of cans in 6 months from now. I'd rather deal with them right now and be done with it. But I will always be looking for these things now, because I do believe that our governments and these corporations in partnership with them that distribute food to the population are coming in with inferior cans for an ulterior motive outside of they're trying to maximize on their profit margin. Right? And it won't be long before they phase out cans in general and will be selling everything in freaking plastic that goes through big vats being irradiated, right, to protect the public before they send it off to the grocery store and so that you can come buy it. Yeah, okay, I don't think so. But the way things are going, you know, I think that's what our grandkids are looking at if they don't know how to, I don't know, I guess homestead. You know, be more grounded with being able to can food and understanding food physics, right? Or food biochemistry or whatever it is, right? So, there. I think that I said what I wanted to say for now. Right now I'm just clearing off the counter and making space for these cans and, you know, thinking about that menu, that staple food menu. We got the wheat, we've got the dried fruit, we've got the dried vegetables, we've got the fats, because I got the beef tallow in the freezer and lards, and right, we've got the sweeteners that come in with, you know, the sugars that I've bought over a period of time, and the honey is a big one. I still got that 30 kg of honey coming in that I have to jar up. I keep phoning the guy. I said, look, I'm still busy. I can't. I got the jars. They're all there. 3 cases. Quart-sized jars. But I'm just, you know, not ready to pour honey into 36 jars yet. And when I do, I want to feel good about it. You see, that's the thing. It's like that comfort food. You don't want to pour the honey into the jar with a bad attitude or completely stressed out and angry, because it will go in angry. Whereas if you pour it in happily, lovingly, joyfully, it will come out that way. And I told him that. I want to enjoy myself when I fill up my 36 jars of honey. Quart size at that. And hopefully I'll have Tisha help me do that. Oh, that would be a great video. Alright. Versus, oh, I'm depressed today, I don't want to do this. And, you know, what the heck am I thinking my kids are going to start beating me up for 36 jars of freaking honey? When I go, they'll be so stupid, they'll just take those 36 36 jars of quart-sized quality honey and put it out on the street so people can pillage it because they think it's no good. And the only thing that those people want are those jars. And everybody's going to pour out that honey. But yet nobody knows that that honey can sit like that for thousands of years. Serious. Right? Not that we're all going to get to 1,000 years from now, but it can sit in a jar, uninterrupted, for years and years and years and years and years. And when you open it up, it's going to be just as good as the day it went in. And if it went in with a good attitude, it's going to come out with a good attitude, people. And I'll be, mission accomplished. And that's only assuming my kids don't throw it out because they don't realize what they actually have in their hand when they're holding that honey. Because they're so conditioned to settle for something less. Do you get it? But waste not, want not. And I have a plan for these, so I'm happy that I bought them. But it isn't something that I would stock up on for long term. And it wouldn't be something that I would encourage. So the less I buy these kind of cans, in my mind, even though I'm one person out of a drop of millions of people buying these cans, that's one customer these companies basically lost. Because right now I don't have to buy them. If it gets to the point where I don't have a choice, and that's the only way I can feed my family, because there's nothing else but this to buy, outside of maybe a plastic container as they phase out metal, well, I won't be around long enough to see that happen. But I can see it happening because, you know, people are crooked. Everybody's a control freak, and corporations are the worst. Okay, so I'm going to end this video now, and I'm going to put this first, and then what I was talking about yesterday when I was on the floor regarding these cans. And I'm just going to focus for the day, do what I got to do, and then when I'm ready to start canning something, whether it's Alfredo sauce. Well, I'm not doing the salsa sauce right now. I'm still waiting for my jars with the lug lids to come in, and that's not a priority. That can wait. The Alfredo sauce is definitely a priority, but I would prefer regular mouth size, pint size jars for that versus wide mouth. So I'm on the fence with getting at least two more cases of jars just for the Alfredo sauce. And then I've put these dented ones, whatever, off to the side, getting ready to recan, repurpose, dehydrate, freeze. Not sure yet. Probably a little bit of everything. So I have a selection. And you know, so things don't pile up, and that they're available to use through convenience of where you place them in the house. And because you're combining, like for example, this and this can be redone together. So, and if you need to, you can always add a little extra sugar to compensate for what they don't have in this. Just saying. So that needs to be done, but there's no emergency on that, so that buys me a bit of time because I have to get out in the yard, people. Like, you don't even know. And nobody wants to help me with that. But that's a different video. I'm still doing eggs. So yeah, I'm doing just a steady pace. So the Alfredo sauce is the next, I think, canning session, because I've got fresh cream, fresh sour cream, fresh grated Parmesan cheese, and I have everything. I just need the jars that I want. So we'll see. I told Tisha we'll see what happens the next couple of days. So I'll probably be doing that in a couple of days. And then as I have spare time, as I go about, because I want to clear out and put things away, and I have to still organize Shamay's room, and I'm going to do a couple different things in there, and oh my God. There's no priority that I have to do this within a week or two. I can take these and extend this out after I've done the honey. Because really, honey should be on the next list, because that honey I bought like almost a month ago, and it's still sitting at the honey store. 15 kg buckets, 2 of them. I'm so looking forward to it, but I wanna have a good time. Like, not to have a good time, but you know, that's 36 jars. I mean, that's not going to be a great old time. I mean, that's a lot of jars, but if Tisha helps me, it can go really fast, right? Or maybe I'll invite Aria over with Tisha, and they can both help me, and I'll get them pouring honey, and they can take home a couple jars each, which would be great for me, because then I don't have to do it, they can do it. So maybe I'll do that instead. We'll see. This is where I'm going to end it. And as I think about that, I'm like, I want to clear out a few things, not too much. And that's another thing. I got like toys all over the place, and you know, like I'm not 60 people. I'm 61, and like, you know, it's so hard for me to just give them away because Kyrie's one. You know, like, I'm not going to give away toys that he can play with. Any more than I'm going to give away toys that Alea May can play with. And then when Alea May outgrows them, I'm still not going to give them away because Kyrie's coming up in the ranks. Not to mention even Amari. Or whatever. But maybe some of these books. You know, just a couple of boxes. Right? Start maybe with books. I don't know what books. I got Auntie Shamay's books downstairs. But it's a big chore to get into the business room, aka Tisha's bedroom, because, you know, I got a bunch of shit in front of it. Because I took out the bins with the fabric and put it there so I could work on Auntie Shamay's room with the food storage so that, you know, once it's done, right? And so anyway, I mean, there is books in there that I could, I don't know. Just a small donation to a church, to that church Tisha goes to. Right? I'm not ready to give away a whole bunch of books from upstairs yet. But there is a fair amount downstairs. And I mean, I got Lucy's box still sitting here. April's box is still on my sewing table. Peggy's box is still on my sewing table. I don't even know if I should be mailing off Peggy's box to her because, you know, I pissed her off when I did that video about black women on YouTube, acting like I don't know what. And she took it personal. But whatever, her box is still sitting on my sewing table in the original envelope that I paid $22 in stamps to send out to her, and for whatever reason it came back because apparently I had the wrong address on it. I'm not very good at putting things out in the mail. Right? Those little bottles for that vanilla extract that I made, they're still sitting over there waiting to be washed. I haven't even had a chance to fill them up yet. That blackberry jelly for April is still in food storage. Just whatever. So I don't even know if I'll ever get into that routine of putting Auntie Shamay's books out in the mail. I tried. So far they're still sitting in boxes. Might be easier just to put them in a box and drop it off at the church. Tisha can take it to church one Sunday and the women among themselves can share those books. And Tisha will say, they'll say, where'd your mom get these books from? And she'll say, my mom hoards books. You don't even know. But she calls those ones Auntie Shamay's books. Yeah, Auntie Shamay's cookbooks. And all those women will be like, well, who's Auntie Shamay? And then the story of Tisha, then Tisha can tell the story of who and Auntie Shamay is and what happened to her. You understand? They'll be like, oh. It's funny how the voice can travel, don't you think? What a great way to get Auntie Shamay's voice out there. Might be an idea, but I wouldn't do it for that reason. I would just do it. Because if I was in a church and a bunch of women and somebody donated a couple of boxes of a bunch of cookbooks and I got to go and pick one or two cookbooks and go home and feel good with that comfort food in mind, you see, then I've helped to empower another household to build in comfort food with love. And isn't that what churches do? Oh, we'll see. As for these books around here, well, I don't know yet. I'm feeling claustrophobic in general. I've been wanting to leave this house for a long time, but I have no place to go. Right, so I just take it one day at a time. And, no regrets.